look at that. She misspelled her name. I just want to throw that out there.
I'm Jay. Thank you very much.
Look at these skills.
Red sauce, you know.
Look at those skills.
Never knew how to make a pizza until I got here.
Yeah, I taught her that.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Terrible.
Leonte behind the camera.
Yeah, I'm out here. What's good, y'all?
Best sweet master ever. But that's it. I just wanted to say that this will be my last pizza, and I'm gonna snap it right after.
Gotcha.
Guys, this is like my last day at DSW. Thanks to Luis and the cameraman.
Big facts.
Come with me. You too. Thank you. Safe travels, bro.
Bye, Latondra.
My way. Text me when you had to eat my way. Yeah. Those are my OGs, you know? You want to, like, show them your faces?
Nah.
That's another OG right there behind the camera.
Camera might break. Oh shit, you caught
I
me.
see how that works. My last day clocking out. Get the time. I'm officially clocked out, guys. Deuces. You can take it now.
What influenced you to create this documentary?
So this was very important to me because this was my first backpack trip. Not only that, but it was a solo trip, and I want to do more than just posting my pictures on social media. So I said, let's document it. And this is an appreciation letter to myself, so it means a lot to me. I started doing appreciation letters of April 2018 to sending it to family and friends. So I was on the end of that list, so I was like, hey, why not? Came at the perfect time. So in November, a lot of things were going on. I consistently got angel numbers 555 and 911. So this particular day, driving to work, driving my aunt's car at the time, I was just so frustrated because I was unsatisfied. So this car driving ahead of me, his license plate, he or she license plate said California. I was like, okay, cool. So later in the day, I got the sign 555, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this one. So before I went to sleep, Fresno, California called me, and I was like, oh, I gotta take this. I gotta do it. So that's how California came to be. And who doesn't want to go to California? So the days leading up to my trip were very normal. I went to work. I let my, jobs know what was going on, and I was going on different apps, finding out the equipment that I needed for my trip. So it was just normal days for me. I was working 2 jobs. I was working at DSW for a year and Mod Pizza for a month. And you would think, Mod Pizza for a month, why so short? So initially the purpose for Mod was just to get extra money in order for me to invest my money, but it ended up going left towards the trip. So what you think one thing is for, it leads to another. I love both of them. I documented that as well, but yeah, I basically let them know like this was my last day and this was my last day due to the day I was leaving regarding transportation. So I just let them know that those were my last days. So the initial purpose of the trip was, it's a saying, you cannot heal in an environment that you're sick in. So at the time I was like, I can't stay here in the DMV anymore. I need to go somewhere that's not here and to really, focus and do what I needed to do. So California was the place I was going to do it at. I was going to focus on my network marketing business that I'm currently still in, but taking a break from, but I was focusing on that, and I was just going to legally make my money any way I could and just start new out there. I took the Greyhound 2-day trip, and the reason why I took Greyhound was because I was going with the flow. I didn't have no plan. I was going to utilize those 2 days not only to sightsee but also figure out what I was going to do, and I ended up meeting some really cool people And you know, if you take a plane, you'll get there in about what, 4 or 6 hours. So I was like, that's gonna be too fast for me. Once again, going with the flow. So the Greyhound was the best choice, plus affordable as well. The only person who knew was the day I left was my father. No one knew nothing. It was on the hush. Due to medical problems, he wasn't able to talk. So I was like, I told him that day that I was leaving, and it's not like he's gonna snitch on me. So like, I don't know how he told them that I was on my trip, but he figured a way how. And I started getting calls from my family members saying, where are you going? I let them know that I was on the Greyhound going to California, and they were telling me to come back, but I needed to do this for myself. So I said no. Said no to them and yes to me. I met this guy named Milton. He was also going to California, and he was also on a similar path that I was on. He was coming from Maine, so we kind of bonded off of that, like talking about experiences and where we were from in our family. I met some other people. That guy coming from jail going back home, which was California, a few ladies going to Las Vegas. It was just a lot of people with many different stories giving me their advice and their lives.
Okay, what parts of California did you visit while you was there?
Venice, then Hollywood, and then San Diego beachside. Oceanside, my bad.
Tell me about when you first arrived to California and where did you go and everything.
So a couple of hours before I got to California, I still didn't have anywhere to stay, so I had to like hurry up and figure out where that was. So I found this Airbnb called the Black Lab, which is amazing. If anyone goes there, stay there if you're doing a backpacking trip or whatever. So I got to the Greyhound. I already booked my trip, my stay at Airbnb, and I basically got an Uber. Went through, I saw a little bit of Crenshaw at night, but I basically went straight to my Airbnb.
So how was it staying in a hostel?
So the hostel was cool. It had like a homey, cozy vibe. That's like an Airbnb hostel. Is very different from the standard ones. It was a lot other people from like Spain, the UK. Someone came from like the mountains. So different people all in one house. They had the kitchen, the living room, kitchen appliances, everything like that. So you had to obviously make your own food. You shared a room, so you had like bunk beds, and they provided you a locker, but you had to bring your own lock. And that was just for like your valuables and stuff. So it was very cozy and homey there. They're very nice people.
Yeah,
shout out to y'all.
How was it meeting the people at the hostel? Like, since you said it was like very nice, so
yeah,
did it make you stay very like cozy?
Yeah, it really did. I really bonded and felt more of a vibe towards this this queen that was from the UK. Her name was Siri, and she was there for a couple of weeks, and she was very nice to me. I told her about my trip and what I was doing, so we bonded here and there. I didn't really get to stay as much in Venice as I'd like to, because I came at night when I was supposed to arrive in the morning due to an incident on the Greyhound, but I definitely took advantage of the time that I did have there. Oh, and it was another girl named Sarah. She was a comedian from Canada, so she was doing her thing out there, so getting noticed and stuff.
So with all those people there, did they provide any food? If not, where did you eat while in Venice?
Okay, so I brought my own oatmeal for breakfast because I'm very particular on what I eat in the morning. So the next day I cooked my breakfast. I was gonna go to Venice Beach Boardwalk, so I went there early in the morning. The ocean is amazing. It's very peaceful. So I reflected, I cried, I stood back up, wiped myself off, and enjoyed the rest of my day. I went to the skate park, the basketball park that was all there in that facility, and it was like all the different foods on the sideline. So I went to this place called Venice Taco. Oh my gosh, they have some really good vegan tacos. So I'm such a foodie. So it was really good. So I just ate, I went back, I did that. Anything that was on the Venice Boardwalk, I did that, and then I just went back to the hostel. Before I got to the Venice beach, I kind of got lost, and I met this guy. He was from there. He was really cool. He was going to school for Japanese. He wanted to go to Japan full time to teach English. So that was cool.
Were there any Venice activities? I know you said it was a basketball court. Did you play anything? Go surfing or any of that?
Nah, more so with sightseeing, just connect with the people that was there. So my activity was the Venice boardwalk. Like I said, I was supposed to get there early, like the day before. And this was like my first time, so it was kind of like I was trying to do enough but not do too much because I was by myself. Later down the line I got more comfortable being out more, so yeah. But I would definitely go back to Venice. It's very peaceful.
Was there any struggles that you encountered there, like mentally, physically, or anything since you were there by yourself, and how did you get out of them?
So I went through something mentally. How, like, my mind, I was like, okay, I was 2 days at this Airbnb. Where am I going to go next? I haven't really done anything regarding the business yet. Where am I going to stay? Blase, blase, blase. Everything was going in my mind. And Siri, the one I bonded with and vibed with closer than the other people there, I basically told her what was going on with me, and she was like, I was trying to figure out if I was going to go back home. Why so quick? I don't know. It's like your first time jitters. So she was like, no, like, continue traveling. You came all this way for something, keep going. So I was like, hell yeah. And I kept going. I got out of it, and I booked my next stay somewhere else. Venice, compared to, you know, Hollywood and San Diego and Arizona, Venice was very mellow, and this was during the day. During the night, I have no idea. But during the day, it just gave you like a mellow type feel, like walking down the street at night or walking down the street in the morning. I mean, no worries, basically. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really chill and cozy. I would definitely go back. My last day, I woke up in the morning and I saw the sunrise. You have like the palm trees, you have that sunset coming up. I was walking towards breakfast, which Luna Cafe, really good breakfast, and I ended up catching the sunrise, so that was my favorite moment.
So after you left Venice, where was your next destination?
I stayed at USA Hostel, Hollywood.
Can you describe how staying there worked?
So basically, it's like if you go to a hotel, have reception, they gotta buzz you in to go to the rooms and stuff. So when you enter, the outside you enter is like this lounge, and then it has like the entry door, so you go through there as a receptionist, and then if they have to buzz you in. On your left is like a kitchen right there. My room was at the bottom floor, so it was inside of like more of a dorm. I stayed with 5 other females, including myself. 3 bunk beds in a room, and we shared a shower, and they had like lockers once again for your valuables. But it was really cool because no one's really in the room. That's the thing. No one is in the room. Everyone is doing their own sightseeing. They got their own situation going on, so it was nice. And they had a lounge room upstairs, so that was pretty dope.
Okay, that's cool. How long was your stay there in Hollywood?
2 days.
2 days?
2 days, 2 days.
So how was it meeting at the people at the hostel?
So it was a lot different from Venice. I got outside my comfort zone a little bit. I'm still talkative anyway, but still. So I met all these different women. It was very amazing. My bunk mate, she was from Germany. Her name was Mika. So she was like really cool. I met another queen. She was from Rio, Brazil. 2 other females were from South Korea. And then my last day, another girl came in from Australia. So those were amazing women. Yeah, and they were also solo female travelers too, except Rio, because she was with her husband due to a family situation. But they were all solo. So it was amazing to see that. It gave me more confidence, you know what I mean? Like, you have your family members saying, no, don't travel, things can happen, which anything can happen anywhere. So to see so many solo female backpackers that gave me encouragement to keep going. So my first day was a chill day. I went out and I got food. I walked around. I went to the famous Star Boardwalk. So I think that's the name of it, where all the stars are on the ground and you get to see them. So I did that. The next day I went to Runyon Canyon Park with this couple. They were so nice. They were so cute too. So I went there. Oh my gosh, that hike will kill you in the beginning, but you got to keep going. So, and that was like my first official hike. So my hiking boots really did save my life. But it was cool. I really challenged myself not only physically but mentally to reach the top. When I got to the top, it was such a beautiful, Los Angeles is beautiful. So that was amazing. And then later during the night, one of the girls that was from South Korea, she came in and I invited her to dinner and we went to this Indian place and we ate, and I was such a foodie. And then later that night we saw the premiere Aquaman. So I have a video of that, them setting them up and, you know, actors going across, and we were just walking down the boardwalk. I mean the famous, whatever the thing's called, famous footwear.
The Hall of Fame stars.
Thank you, Hall of Fame stars. Thank you. We walked during that, and we were supposed to go to downtown LA. Me, Mecca from Germany, and Tion from South Korea. We were all supposed to go, but Tion couldn't make it, so me and Mecca went downtown, took the metro, and we were looking for the art district. So we saw little pieces here and there when we got off the metro, but when we started walking towards the art district, it kind of got a little shady, but because it was like, but excuse me, it's not to be funny, but it became homeless central and stuff. And the reason why I say that was because it was like, okay, so the first block we went, because we're using GPS, so the first block we went to, we just saw tents and people, and I was like, okay, we're probably going the wrong way. So we asked somebody else and they were like, yeah, you're going the right way. So we went another block and it was the same thing, but it was like full of tents on both sides of the street. And we were like, okay, probably we go through here and our district's on the other side. So we started walking and then it kind of got a little shady more. So we decided just to walk back, and this guy touched Mika's arm and we just got out of there. It wasn't really a scary moment, but yeah, it wasn't really scary, but yeah, it was just very sad just to see that, and I kind of figured it was maybe because it was nighttime, but during the next day when I had to leave, it was still the same during the day, so it was very saddening, very saddening.
Yeah. And we're hearing that. What was one situation that caught you by surprise while in Hollywood?
One of the ladies that was riding with us during the Greyhound, she was homeless. I don't know how. I'm assuming they bought her or gave her money to go to Greyhound to, you know, it was cold here, so they probably sent her all the way to California because it may be sunny or whatever. So she was literally standing on the same block as where my hostel was. So it was very sad seeing someone that I took the Greyhound with on the streets, you know? So that was sad. My favorite moments was getting to know the girls, getting to know what they did in their experiences and in their lives, and them going to school, or what they did for work and their family situation and what they aspired to do. I always like getting to know people and their stories. I might never see them again. Hollywood is in your face, especially at night. Like, you got a whole lot of different people, different characters, own different personalities. So Hollywood is really in your face, and it's fast paced. As in Venice, it's mellow and calm, in my opinion.
My bad. Where did you eat while in Hollywood?
So my first night, I went to this vegan place called Veggie Grill, and I got some vegan, whatever. I got some vegan nachos, a vegan cookie, and something to drink. So that was awesome. And then I went to this vinyl shop right next door. So it was pretty cool seeing all the old school music, this and all that.
Okay, and that vinyl shop was just vinyls, right? Not
vinyls,
not
cassette tapes.
Okay.
It was separate, but vinyl, cassette tapes. I forgot. I don't know what it's called, but a vinyl player.
Record.
Yeah, record player, thank you. And they had a whole bunch of like different posters on the wall. So they got it from rock to hip hop to R&B and all that.
Okay, yeah, I was just making sure you didn't eat at the vinyl store.
Oh no.
Alright, so
No.
how did you get to San Diego?
I took a Greyhound. In the morning. So Greyhounds, your best friend.
Where did you stay at in San Diego?
So in San Diego, I stayed at the sister to U.S. Hostel Hollywood. It was just U.S. Hostel San Diego Oceanfront.
Oh wow, and how long did you stay there?
2 days.
Okay. Since both the hostels was under U.S. Hostel, how were they different since this was like a sister one?
So what appealed to me with the San Diego Oceanfront was it was a hippie vibe to it. Like the outside of the hostel was very open. It had paintings everywhere. It had beach sittings on the porch. When you walked in, it was surfing equipment, and it was right next to the beach and the pier, so it gave me a hippie vibe. And it was like a peace sign that lit up at night, so I was more drawn to that one than downtown San Diego.
Okay, and how was it meeting the people at that hostel then?
Hollywood, it was more people in there, and I got to socialize more with them. In Oceanfront, people were there. I think this lady was there for a conference, and the other guy, he was more out browsing around. And then I met this girl, but she was on her last day, and we vibed, but her last day was she had to leave. So, right? She was leaving the next day. In San Diego Dome, I wasn't able to connect that much with them, but outside meeting and being in the common area, I got to meet some cool people. But I did connect with a young lady that was there, that was from Boston, that was also there for a conference.
Now, what was some activities you did in San Diego?
So I went, I think it was called Cosley Mountain in San Diego. So once again, I went hiking with a few people that signed up to go hiking. Once again, it beat my ass in the beginning, but I got to the top. So I went there, I went to the ocean front and looked at some people surfing, and I just walked around. I think Oceanfront wasn't more so of activities, it was more so of downtime for me, because I had to, I needed the downtown. Coming from Hollywood, kind of need some downtown. So it was more so just like restaurants and beach if you wanted to surf, and if you wanted to go outside, take the bus or whatever, to other activities.
Were there any struggles you encountered in San Diego?
I had to figure out where I was going next. I didn't know where I was going. I knew that my trip was not over, but I didn't know where my next destination was. So a miracle happened, and my aunt was like, "Hi, how are you?" I was like, "Good, how are you?" She was like, "Where are you?" I was like, "California." She was like, "Oh, you should come here to Arizona." And I was like, "You serious?" She was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." So I was like, on to the next destination.
How was the vibe at Oceanfront?
Oceanfront was it was just like Venice, but more, I would say, slower.
And what was one of your favorite moments while you was there?
Before my last day, me and the girl, I think her name was Malia, and she was from Boston, and we just chilled out. After we came from the hike, we went to go get dinner. We walked on the pier. We looked at some people surf, and then we also got a chance to meet these two young boys. They were in high school. They were just graduating high school, and they were telling me, like, one guy was from Ohio, and he went all the way to Mexico, and he was backpacking all the way up. That was amazing. You're 19 years old. You know what I mean? Who 19-year-old is doing that? Then it was another 18-year-old. He was cycling. Cyclist. I don't know where he started, but he said he's been doing it for about like a day or two or whatever, and he was getting tired. So I was like, dude, you're 18 and 19 years old and you're doing this so young. I commend you. You're doing something that others aren't willing to do. So I was like, to you guys. So that was my favorite moment, just, you know, hearing their stories, and it was like, damn. I would say try something for 6 months, and if you don't like it, go on to the next. At least you get experience with it, you know what I mean?
Previously, you stated, yeah, that your travels weren't finished and you only had 2 days in San Diego. So after your aunt called you and asked you to come to Arizona, what happened next?
That happened Friday, I believe. So that happened Thursday. So Thursday, after she telling me that, a couple of hours later, I was like, okay, let's make sure. So the next day, I wanted to make sure, because you know how you haven't seen a family for so long and they open their house to you, but you want to make sure. So I called her again just to make sure that she was okay with it. She said yes. So I packed all my stuff, and this guy kept going in and out the room when we came back from our bonfire. Whoever wanted to participate in the bonfire, we all came out, we had s'mores, we all talked, we all passed a little green around, and it was amazing. That was also one of my favorites. But coming from there, it was this guy that was one of my roommates, and he kept going in and out of the door while I was sleeping, and it was starting to piss me off. So for some particular reason, I turned my phone to silent, maybe because I wanted more sleep. So when I woke up, I looked at my time and it said 6:30, and my Greyhound was leaving at 6:45, and it took me about 15 minutes to get there. So I'm like, shit, I'm running, I'm like, I don't care who the hell I woke up, I'm like packing all my stuff, I'm getting all my stuff. I had breakfast set aside for the next day. I was like, fuck breakfast. I had to hurry up and call Uber or Lyft just to hurry up and come pick me up. While I'm driving there, I'm like trying to get in touch with Greyhound to be like, if I'm 5 minutes away, can you just wait? But I kept getting like these these boneheaded people, and I'm like, what the fuck? So grace of the divine spirit of my ancestors and the universe, I made it 5 minutes after, but they were still there. I was like, thank God, right? But I was like so irritated. The driver thought I was irritated with her, but I was like, no, like, you just don't know what I just went through just to get here so I can meet my bus, because the next bus didn't come until like 10 p.m. So then I'm like, like, where am I gonna go? You know what I mean? I was very blessed that day. So that was a struggle.
So what part of Arizona did you visit?
Phoenix. That's where my aunt and my uncle would stay.
Okay, is that where you were staying? Like
full time, yes.
full time? Okay. So you didn't visit any other parts of Arizona, just Phoenix?
So my uncle really like drove me around. So we went to Tempe, we went to Scottsdale, we went a little, you know, places here and there. But we mainly stayed in Phoenix because that's kind of like the city.
Since you were with family, did they have a home cooked meal, or did you still have to go out to like restaurants that they were like, man, we just gave you a roof over your head?
Yeah, they gave me a roof over my head. They had potatoes, so for breakfast I usually made potatoes and onions with toast. But for dinner and lunch, I went out to eat. I went to these vegan restaurants, amazing, by the way. I'm going to hook you guys up with some vegan places wherever you go. So my first night I went to Vegan House. I had like this Asian spaghetti with like Terra potato and actual sweet potato fritters, which was amazing, with peanut sauce. And throughout the rest of my trip, within the week that I stayed there, I went to NAMI, N-A-M-I, which is a vegan ice cream and bakery place that is sister to New Green Vegan Restaurant. Amazing food. Amazing food. You'll see the pictures.
What was your purpose of going to Arizona?
I knew that, you know, my backpacking trip wasn't over, and I ended up ending in Phoenix, Arizona. So the purpose, I would say, was, if I had to say anything, was family, getting to know family. I didn't really know them growing up, so it's for her to open her house, for my uncle and aunt to both open their house up to me, it was amazing. I love them for it. My uncle took me to a place where you can see all of Arizona. Like, you would go up to the Runyon Canyon Park, right? So you'll see all of Los Angeles, but he took me, it was similar, I forgot the name of it, but it was, you could see all of Arizona. And we also went to the Grand Canyon. So just seeing the Grand Canyon was like is this really in front of me? Is this like, am I really seeing this? You have to experience to be like, am I in the Matrix right now? But it was so beautiful. I got to meet family members. I got to meet my Juanita's cousin, also named Juanita, and her grandchild, and cousin Juanita's sister, which was named Cassandra, and her friend Leo, who did an art piece in the White House for Barack Obama. So family is very important. So yeah, purpose was family.
And what did you encounter any struggles while you was out there in Arizona?
Like I said, you can't heal in the environment that's making you sick. So I was wondering if it was a struggle trying to figure out if I was going to come back to the DMV. I was thinking about getting an apartment out in Arizona and living out there and figuring out work and everything like that. I knew I wanted to work for myself, so I was going to find a way of doing that out there.
I like it.
But I had unfinished business in the DMV, so I wound up coming back home.
So what were some of your favorite moments while in Arizona?
So meeting family members was always a plus, an amazing thing. Eating amazing vegan food, seeing the Grand Canyon, which, oh my gosh, whoever hasn't been to Arizona, please come or go and go see the Grand Canyon. It's very beautiful, it's mesmerizing, and it is breathtaking. Please go, take the trip. So yeah, those are my three main things: family, food, and the Grand Canyon. Each destination taught their own little thing, but overall the whole package was have faith in yourself and your choices you make.
So you decided to come back to the DMV because of the unfinished business. Now how did you get back to the DMV?
Airplane.
Airplane.
The Greyhound 2 was, served its purpose, but for me to just hurry up and come back to the DMV to start making things happen, it was like a plane. Plus I didn't want to take another 2-day trip. So I took the plane. It was about 4 hours, and I was back home. When you travel, you start to appreciate where you come from. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So what were you hoping to gain from your expedition?
I would say clarity. I got a lot of clarity. It allowed me to focus. It allowed me to get a taste of the lifestyle that I'm willing to work hard for. So, yeah.
Okay, what did you gain from California as a whole?
Self-reliance. When you're around family members a lot, you tend to, depending on your situation, and for me, you tend to, rely on them a little bit too much, as you should when you get up in age. So for me, it was just like tearing off the Band-Aid for that.
Okay, and so for tearing off the Band-Aid with family, so what did you gain from Arizona while staying with family?
Arizona was just an addition to family. Like, in itself, it had the purpose of getting to know family that you've never met. Hopefully one day adding to that relationship that I wasn't necessarily able to have when I was growing up due to my mother and her father's relationship. So it kind of was like, okay, I'm grown enough to take on the responsibility of creating this relationship with them organically. So now it's on me.
So, what have you learned about yourself throughout this whole trip? Did you find out anything new about yourself?
I think it's stamped that sometimes I think too much, or I'm somewhat impulsive. Who just ends up quitting their job and going and backpacking in California. But I think that's the best thing about me is sometimes I can be like, let's go, and I'll take on the positive and negative consequences when they come. But it also something that I thought I was into. I need to work on sometimes planning. I loved it. I want to, so that kind of helped me out as well with that.
From the beginning, did you find what you were seeking?
I was seeking to fully do business, whereas I got to really understand who I was as a person, my weaknesses, the things that I need to improve about myself, love myself, and accept all the things that come with me. You know what I mean? And sometimes your weaknesses is actually your strength when you need it to be. So the purpose changed. The purpose became a journey, a pilgrimage. I read this book called The Alchemist, and that kind of gave me encouragement because he didn't know what his trip was about, and he had spiritual numbers and people or whatever. But it was a fairy tale, but it has a lot of significance with how we live our lives now today. Just need to be more aware and take risks. Sometimes those risks will provide you rewards, even if it is positive or negative.
Did you get any reward out of this? So did the trip change you, and did anything improve about you in a way? Do you feel like?
Yes, I always, let's say, emotional independence. I would say I feel like sometimes I rely on other people's approvals, which comes to family members that I'm really close with, and I want their acceptance for certain things that I'm doing. But now I'm kind of like, no, like, this is my journey, this is my life. You already lived your life, you already made your decisions, you're still living, you can change it if you want to. For me, I'm 24, I'm still learning. Let me do my thing. If I need your advice, I'll ask you, you know? But for me, it's more so accepting and respecting the choices that you make. And sometimes the choices right then and there was the right choice, and if you have negative or positive consequences towards it, then you'll have to deal with it and take accountability for it. So yeah, just relying on me and trusting myself.
What is one of your greatest strengths?
I don't know, I have a lot. I feel like sometimes my impulsive behavior when it comes to doing certain things, I love connecting with others, so I'll talk to anybody. And my way of doing that is sometimes I know I might never see you again, so I'm not nervous, you know what I mean? Like, I look at you and talk to you like I know you. And some people make other people nervous because of that. You're like, you don't know me, and why are you talking to me? But I don't know, I love connecting with others, so I feel like that is my greatest strength, and I just love listening and hearing other people's stories. So yeah.
Alright, what is your biggest weakness?
My impulse. Like it's like my quote unquote strength and something that I need to work on, because sometimes I do have to sit down and plan and really figure out, okay, this is how it's gonna be, and and listening. I'm working on listening.
Where else would you go backpacking?
I would say the world, but I want to go to the motherland, which is Africa. I would love to go there. Australia, Asian countries, everywhere. But I would say the motherland. But until then, I would basically be taking little small trips domestically in the US.
What influenced you to keep moving forward? I know there was a time where you said, yeah, you was in Venice and the girl asked you and everything, and you was like, yeah, she had to tell you to keep going and everything. You said it was a moment.
When I get a little down, sometimes we feel like things aren't happening. Oh, let me stop turning around. Sometimes we feel like things aren't happening when we think it should, and we need to really, or at least for me, I can't speak on others, but to learn patience. So sometimes when I get down or I get too much in my head, I go back to my videos that I did from Venice all the way to Arizona, and I look at my videos and I look at my pictures and I remember my trip, and I'm like, that kind of brings me like calm and down to be like, okay, it'll come, you know what I mean? Take your time.
What is your dream life you're working towards manifesting? And like backpacking around the world. I know you say you're supposed to more in your business, your communication.
Van life. Right now, van life tiny living, tiny house living. If anyone does not know what van life is, it's more so like RV living, but instead you convert like school buses or whatever type of, you know, large vehicle that you can transform into a home on wheels. So that allows me to somewhat still backpack without having to carry so much stuff, you know. But van life into, you know, owning my own land, gardening, being really self-efficient, basically. Self-efficient is the end all be all goal of mine.
Alright.
And having my money work for me.
Oh, you work for your money.
Let me put that out there.
Yeah, so you having your money work for you instead of you work for your money?
Yes, yes.
What have you learned about backpacking and what can you improve on your next trip?
So what I learned about backpacking is never take your business on the road with you unless you are going to stay at that particular location for a long period of time. Because I was moving every 2 days from Venice to Hollywood to San Diego, you really don't have enough time to do work. So never bring your work on you. But like I said, my initial purpose to what it actually was, you know, you find out later in the trip. But yeah, if you know that it's gonna be work, don't take your work if you know you're gonna be moving a lot. I had to minimize my backpack 3 times. So I had to repack and unpack 3 times because you kind of figure out some of the things that you think you need, you don't need. And it's really minimalistic, you know, being a minimalist and having all your things that you're gonna stay for however many days you're gonna be out, and you kind of like switch it up. What was that? I mean, I got the right backpack. The girl who gave it, or that I bought it from, she took trips to like all Israel and Africa and all that, so I added my trips to it. I got a sleeping bag, I had a computer bag, my boots. The things that I would improve would be planning my trip for a longer stay. I initially didn't know how long I was gonna be on my trip, so what I was thinking was full-time to 6 months to it was actually like 2 weeks. So basically planning long term. I found out if you really want to travel about 6 months to a year, you would have to have about 10 to 12,000 saved up. So yeah, I had close to 2 G's, over 1,500. Yeah.
Okay. Would you have done anything differently?
No.
Alright. Was there any life lessons you learned?
So the life lessons I've learned were the life lessons I've learned were, God damn it.
Between balancing things and just going with the flow.
Yeah. You said what?
Balancing things and going with the flow.
Oh gosh.
Like an ocean.
So the life lessons I learned was like balancing everything out, going with the flow of everything, not overthinking, being responsible for your time. Time is the very greatest asset, so just don't waste it. And if I wanted to do more camping, like in the woods and everything, being more self-efficient of like how to make a fire, go fishing, things of that matter, if I wanted to take it that way.
Can you tell me why you named it The Unknown?
I named the documentary The Unknown because at first it was going to be Jalen's Adventures or Pilgrimage, but I was like, that's too, you know, common. So The Unknown sounds superficial a little bit, but it was actually The Unknown. It was funny because the day of my trip, I was at the Greyhound in this band, Melanin Band, check them out, they're called The Unknown. So it was really funny, on the day I'm going on my trip, this band is out there playing their music, really good music, and their name is The Unknown. And this whole trip was literally The Unknown, and I had to trust the choices I was making. And when at the result of those choices, I had to deal with the unknown, and it was, you know, everything about it was first first time doing it, first time deciding it, first time thinking about it. So everything was the unknown, and I love it.
One thing you can tell your family about this vacation, like, or this backpack adventure, what would it be like?
Do it. No, really. We do sometimes, depending on the person, you do these touristy things when you go to other countries and stuff. But I would say do it. I would say get out of your comfort zone. I would say, unless, I hope you're like, you know, fit or whatever, but it could be a road trip or whatever. But get out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone will kill you. And sometimes we get complacent the more we go up in age because we have all these responsibilities, but you still have a life to live. You still have things to explore and people to meet. So do it. Your form of backpacking. Just do it.
All right, and did you have any regrets?
No. I mean, you learn from your quote-unquote mistakes, so anything is a life lesson. Everything is a life lesson. No regrets.